Good morning, it's Louise here. I am doing you a really quick video this morning, which I have got notes I've got to refer to. I hope you're alright with that. But there was some really important news yesterday. It's the 27th of June today, so it's 26th of June. And it was all over the BBC about news about sugar. And I'm quite passionate about this, so I wanted to just sort of shout out to you, let you bring you up to date in case you haven't seen it. The World Health Organization has called basically for us to halve our daily intake of sugar, which I think is fantastic news. I think it's been a long time coming and I feel quite passionately about this. I must say these are my own views, but back in the 1970s there was a whole big piece of news about how we needed to lower our saturated fats. And while I don't disagree with that, because saturated fats aren't good for you, some fats are good for you and are essential in the diet. And of course, then everybody started to try and eat low-fat foods, which, to be honest, they taste a bit like cardboard. They tasted a bit just flavourless. So what the food manufacturers were doing, because people would stop eating their food if they were low-fat, is that they added lots of sugar to it, like added sugar. And then, of course, we've got high fructose corn syrup, which is actually proven to be really dangerous now. And all of these other things which made it taste nice. And there's some element of belief as well that I'm trying to be really careful with my words, some element of belief there that there's addictive properties as well to some of these things that are added into our foods. So I think that, you know, what they did back in the 1970s wasn't wrong, but we approached it necessarily in the wrong way. And everything sort of got so much more sugar added to it. And of course what happened to the obesity epidemic then is it just started to soar, and a lot of people got bigger and bigger, and for some reason now they're cottoning on that sugar might be a trigger. And I'm so pleased that it's finally becoming, well, on the news. I mean, I was at the gym yesterday and the screens that were up in front of me, they had the you know, all the subtitles they have on them, and I was reading it and I was so excited. I thought I must get up early this morning and do you a nice video. So the World Health Organization have said that added sugar, including honey and fruit juice, needs to be taken into account with these new legislations. And what they're saying is that 5% of our daily intake of calories should be made up of sugar and no more. And 1 can of pop, which is 330 millilitres, uses up that 5%. That's kind of as an average guide. Now I've got some other notes here I'm just referring to on my laptop. There's a gentleman called Professor Ian MacDonald, and he's the chairman of the SACN working group on carbohydrates. He said, I can quote him because it's like that on this BBC website, "The evidence that we have analysed shows quite clearly that high free sugars intake in adults is associated with increased energy intake and obesity. There's also an association between sugar sweetened beverages and type 2 diabetes." So you can see it's like obviously really important stuff. And he says by reducing it to 5%, you would reduce the risk of all those things, and the challenge would be to get there. So yeah, in a nutshell, they're giving you like grammage on depending on your age and obviously whether you're male or female, which goes in line with your calorific intake as well. But the general message here, which I wanted to just point out to you, is that there's a lot of news out there at the moment, and they're saying that, you know, if you watch your sugar intake and keep it lower, it's going to be better for your health. And I totally agree with that. And I can, for one, put my hand up and say that my health has improved when I started to lower my sugar intake. And the thing is as well, it tastes really nice, and they deliberately make everything taste really nice, and we are all quite sort of like enjoying these sorts of things. But just, I mean, I'm a believer of the 80-20 rule. Perhaps I'll do another video on this, which means that 80% of the time be really mindful of what you're eating, and just 20% of the time you might want to let yourself just have a treat. And if you can do that, you can live life. It doesn't have to be bad news. I think it's really good news for the world's health, and for the obesity epidemic it's going to be massive. So that's really good. They are talking about possibly putting tax on sugar. I don't think that that's going to help. I think if they put tax on sugar, people are just going to be spending more money, basically they're just going to, sorry, just a message came in. They're just basically going to make you end up paying more money for the foods that you want. You'll still get it. I mean, it's like when they put tax on things like alcohol and cigarettes, people still go and pay, you know, good money for it. And so I don't think that's really going to help. I think that we need education more. We need to be educated more onto, you know, the positive effects on how great you can feel. And if, you know, I've had a family member who had diabetes, and if you sort of see evidence of exactly what this can do to people, it does educate you and makes you think, hang on a minute, you know, I'm going to rethink things here a little bit, start taking care of my own health a bit better. So what they're not saying don't have any sugar, they're just saying like lower your intake and be careful, and I think it's really good news. And you know, I hope that you'll go and do a little bit of research yourself and, you know, get on board with it as well. So if you like this video, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe for more tips about, you know, healthy things through your nutrition, and have a lovely day.